13 clear signs that you are the chosen one. If you're not sure, watch this video. There's a reason you've always felt different. A reason life has tested you in ways others will never understand. A reason you see things that others don't, feel things that others ignore, and experience a restlessness that never truly goes away. You've tried to fit in, tried to silence the voice inside that tells you that you were made for more. But no matter how much you try to follow the path that others take, something keeps pulling you in another direction. You may not have the full picture yet. You may still be questioning, still wondering if the things you've experienced are just random events or if they actually mean something. But nothing in your life has been random. Every struggle, every shift, every unexplainable moment has been leading you to this realization. There are signs, clear signs, that separate the ordinary from the chosen. And if you've ever felt like you were different, like you were called to something greater, you need to watch until the very end. Because the last sign is the most important. It is the one that changes everything. It is the confirmation you've been waiting for. Now let's begin. Sign number 1. The awakening, the hidden call only certain people feel. Something inside you has always felt different. It's not something you can easily explain, but it's there. A quiet knowing, a deep pull toward something greater, a feeling that you were never meant to live an ordinary life. It's as if you've been marked, set apart for something important. Even if you don't yet know what it is, you sense it in the way you think, in the way you experience the world, in the way you react to things that others seem to ignore. People around you may not understand. You've probably tried to fit in, to silence the voice inside telling you that you were made for more. But no matter how much you try to blend into the crowd, something inside you refuses to stay quiet. There's a reason for that. The truth is, not everyone is meant to walk the same path. Some are called to something different, some are chosen for a greater purpose, and those who are chosen often begin their journey with an awakening. This awakening doesn't always come in a dramatic moment. It can be subtle, a series of small realizations, an increasing awareness that the life you see around you is not the one you were created for. It can come in the form of questions. Why do I feel different? Why do I see things others don't? Why do I feel pulled towards something I can't even fully describe? Sometimes the awakening is triggered by a crisis, by pain, by loss. Chosen ones often go through struggles that others don't face because those struggles are meant to open their eyes. They experience rejection, loneliness, or unexpected shifts in their lives that force them to look beyond the surface. What they don't realize at first is that these challenges are not random. They are part of the process of being called. The awakening is not just about realizing you are different. It's about realizing you were never meant to follow the crowd. The reason you don't think like everyone else, the reason you don't fit into the world's systems, the reason you question things that others accept without thought, it's all because you are being set apart. Before God reveals your purpose, He makes you aware of your calling. He places a hunger in your spirit that cannot be satisfied by anything in this world. Many people ignore the awakening. They dismiss it, suppress it, try to live a normal life. But those who are truly chosen cannot escape it. No matter how much they try to live like everyone else, the sense of purpose follows them. No matter how much they try to ignore the call, something always pulls them back. This is how God works. He does not force His chosen ones into their purpose. He awakens them to it. He lets them feel the weight of their calling. He allows them to see glimpses of what is ahead. And then He waits. Because being chosen is not about being forced into a destiny. It is about choosing to step into it. If you have ever felt like your life is different, if you have ever sensed that there is something more, if you have ever struggled to understand why you cannot simply follow the path of the world, this is your confirmation. You are awakening to something greater. You are beginning to see that your life has a divine purpose, and this is only the beginning. Sign number 2. The battle before the breakthrough. Why chosen ones face intense hardships. Being chosen does not mean an easy life. In fact, it often means the opposite. Those who are set apart for something greater are usually tested in ways that seem unfair, pushed to limits that others never reach, and forced to walk through challenges that feel overwhelming. This is not a sign of abandonment. It is a sign of preparation. Before God elevates someone, He refines them. Before He places a heavy calling on their life, He makes sure they can carry the weight of it. The pattern is clear throughout history. Those who are called to great things rarely have easy beginnings. Joseph was betrayed by his own brothers, sold into slavery, and thrown into prison before he stepped into his destiny. David was anointed as king, but spent years running for his life before he ever sat on the throne. Moses was called to lead a nation, but first had to endure 40 years in the wilderness. Their struggles were not random, they were necessary. The chosen are often broken before they are built, because without the breaking, they would never be ready for what comes next. You may have wondered why your life has felt harder than others. You have faced betrayal, rejection, loss, or overwhelming obstacles that seemed impossible to overcome. You have questioned why things never seem to come easily for you, why doors close when you expect them to open, why the battles never seem to end. But the truth is, these struggles are not meant to destroy you. They are meant to prepare you. Chosen ones often face hardships before their breakthrough because they are being refined. Just like gold must go through fire to be purified, those with a divine purpose must go through trials to be strengthened. Every pain, every loss, every difficult season is shaping you, making you into the person who can handle what is coming. Without the pain, you would never develop the wisdom, the resilience, the faith, and the character needed for the calling ahead. The enemy also knows who you are before you even realize it. He sees your potential, your destiny, and the impact you will have. That is why chosen ones are attacked early. The enemy wants to discourage you, to make you give up before you even step into your calling. He wants you to believe the lie that you are not strong enough, that you are forgotten, that you are unworthy. But those who press through the battles, those who refuse to quit, those who hold on to faith even when everything around them is falling apart, those are the ones who walk into their destiny. You are not going through what you are going through for no reason. Every struggle has a purpose. Every hardship is shaping you. Every moment of pain is preparing you for something greater. Do not mistake the battle for the end of the story. The greatest breakthroughs always come after the hardest battles. The enemy only fights those who are a threat. And if you have been under attack, it is because you are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. The question is, will you endure? Will you keep going even when it feels like everything is against you? Will you trust that God is using this season to prepare you for something greater? Because those who hold on, those who refuse to give up, those who keep their faith even in the fire, those are the ones who step into the fullness of their calling. Sign number 3, a deep sense of purpose. The unshakable feeling that you were made for more. There is something inside you that cannot be ignored. No matter how much you try to fit into the patterns of the world, something always pulls you in another direction. You feel it when you look at your life and wonder why you can't just be satisfied with what everyone else seems to accept. You feel it in the way you think, in the way you experience life, in the way your heart longs for something deeper. This is not a random feeling, it is a sign. People who are chosen often experience a deep, unshakable sense of purpose from an early age. They may not always understand it, and at times they may even run from it, but it never leaves them. It lingers in their mind, in their spirit, in the quiet moments when everything else fades. It is a knowing that they are here for something greater, that their life is meant to matter in ways they cannot yet explain. This feeling of purpose does not come from the world. It is not about career success, material achievements, or personal ambition. It is something deeper. It is a sense that your life is meant to impact others, that you are being pulled towards something bigger than yourself. The world tells people to chase success, to seek comfort, to follow the easiest path. But chosen ones do not find peace in those things. No amount of success, money, or recognition can satisfy what their soul truly craves. This is why you may feel restless. No matter how much you try to settle, something inside you refuses to stay content with a life of routine. You may look around at others who are happy with a simple existence and wonder why you feel differently. But you are not meant to live an ordinary life. You were created for something beyond what the world considers normal. And that is why nothing in this world will ever fully satisfy you. Many people ignore this calling. They convince themselves that they should just follow what society expects, that they should silence the inner pull, that they should accept a life that feels safe and predictable. But those who are truly chosen cannot escape it. No matter how much they try to live like everyone else, the calling follows them. It is in their thoughts, in their dreams, in the moments when they are alone with nothing but their own soul staring back at them. This sense of purpose is not just a feeling, it is confirmation. It is the Spirit of God stirring inside you, making you aware that your life was never meant to be ordinary. Before God calls someone into their destiny, He first places a hunger in their spirit. He lets them feel the weight of their calling before He reveals the details. He makes them restless, unsettled, unable to find peace in anything less than what they were created for. The challenge is whether you will listen. Many ignore the call because it requires sacrifice. It requires stepping into the unknown, letting go of comfort, trusting God even when the path is unclear. It is easier to stay in what is familiar. But chosen ones do not find peace in staying where they do not belong. The only way to silence the restlessness is to step into the purpose God has placed inside you. If you have ever felt like you were made for more, if you have ever struggled to understand why the things that satisfy others do not satisfy you, if you have ever felt a deep pull towards something beyond what you can explain, this is your confirmation. You are not imagining it, you are being called. And the sooner you embrace it, the sooner you will find what your soul has been searching for all along. Sign number 4, being set apart. Why you don't fit in with the crowd. You have never fully fit in, and deep down you know it. No matter how much you try to blend in, something about you stands out. You may have spent years wondering why you feel different, why you see the world in a way others don't, why certain conversations, environments, or people make you feel like an outsider. This is not a flaw, it is a sign. Those who are chosen are often set apart long before they even realize it. It is not something they choose, it is something that has always been a part of them. They think differently, feel differently, and move through life with an awareness that they are not like everyone else. This can feel isolating at times, even painful, but there is a reason for it. Before God can use someone, He separates them. He pulls them out of the crowd, removes them from places that would dilute their calling, and positions them for something greater. You may have noticed that certain relationships have fallen away. Friendships that once felt strong may have faded. People you once relied on may have distanced themselves. It may have felt like rejection, but in reality, it was protection. God does not allow His chosen ones to stay in places that would compromise their purpose. When He is preparing you for something greater, He will remove what no longer serves you. This separation is not always easy. It can make you question yourself, make you wonder if something is wrong with you. But there is nothing wrong with you. You were simply never meant to be like everyone else. The crowd follows trends, seeks validation, and is easily influenced by the world. But those who are called cannot find peace in shallow living. They are drawn to something deeper, something more meaningful. This is why you may feel disconnected from what excites others. Conversations that others enjoy may feel empty to you. The things that bring others satisfaction may leave you unfulfilled. The places where others feel at home may make you feel restless. It is because you are not meant to walk the same path. You are being set apart for something specific, something unique, something that requires you to be different. Throughout history, God has always separated those he calls. Joseph was pulled away from his family, Moses was taken into the wilderness, David was anointed but had to spend years alone before stepping into his destiny. They all had seasons of isolation, not because they were forgotten, but because they were being prepared. If they had remained where they were, surrounded by the familiar, they would never have been ready for what God had planned. You may feel the weight of being different, but it is not a burden. It is confirmation. It means you are being positioned for something that requires you to be distinct. God is not calling you to be like everyone else. He is calling you to be who He created you to be, even when that means walking a different road. The challenge is whether you will embrace your uniqueness or resist it. Many people spend their lives trying to fit in when they were never meant to. They silence their calling to avoid standing out. They compromise their purpose just to be accepted. But chosen ones do not find peace in pretending. The more they try to be like the crowd, the more restless they feel. Because the truth is, they were never meant to stay hidden among the ordinary. If you have ever wondered why you don't fit in, if you have ever felt like you're walking a different path than those around you, if you have ever struggled to understand why you are being separated from things and people you once held on to, this is your answer. You are not alone. You are being set apart, and when the time comes, you will understand why. Sign number 5, spiritual sensitivity. Why you see and feel what others miss you. Notice things others overlook. You sense shifts in the atmosphere, feel emotions that aren't yours, and recognize patterns that seem invisible to most people. Sometimes you don't even know how to explain it. You just know things. You can walk into a room and immediately feel the energy. You can look at someone and sense whether they are genuine or hiding something. You experience moments of deep intuition, dreams that feel significant, and thoughts that come out of nowhere but later prove true. This is not imagination. This is spiritual sensitivity. And it is one of the clearest signs of being chosen. God has given His chosen ones the ability to see beyond the surface. While most people only perceive the physical world, those who are called are often aware of what is happening beneath it. They are sensitive to spiritual forces, attuned to divine messages, and able to recognize truth in ways that others miss. This sensitivity is not just a skill, it is a gift. It is how the Holy Spirit communicates, how God warns, guides, and reveals what is hidden. You may have noticed that certain places make you feel uncomfortable, even when nothing appears wrong. You may have felt an unexplainable peace in moments when you should have been afraid. You may have experienced sudden urges to pray, to leave a situation, or to speak life into someone who was struggling. These are all signs that your spirit is connected to something greater, that you're not just moving through life blindly, but being led by a force beyond yourself. This level of awareness can sometimes feel like a burden. You feel things deeply, and it can be exhausting. You sense when people are hurting, even if they don't say anything. You recognize deception, even when no one else sees it. You feel the weight of the world's pain, and at times it can be overwhelming. But this is not a curse. It is part of your calling. You were given this sensitivity for a reason. Those who are chosen are often called to intercede, to protect, to guide. Your ability to perceive beyond the physical is not random, it is intentional. It allows you to pray for things others don't even realize are happening. It helps you navigate situations with wisdom. It gives you discernment, the ability to distinguish truth from deception, light from darkness. This is why you may have always felt like you see things differently, why you pick up on details that others ignore. It is because you were never meant to live on the surface. But with this gift comes responsibility. Many people drown out their spiritual sensitivity with distractions, ignoring the signals, pushing away the feelings, because they are inconvenient. Others become so focused on what they sense that they forget to seek wisdom in how to use it. But true spiritual awareness is not just about knowing, it is about listening. It is about responding to what God reveals, about using the gift with discernment and purpose. You are not crazy. You are not imagining things. The reason you feel deeply, see beyond what is obvious, and experience the world differently is because you have been given a gift that most people do not have. You are spiritually sensitive because you were meant to walk with deeper awareness, to be a light in dark places, to recognize what others cannot. If you have ever struggled to understand why you feel things so intensely, why you sense danger before it comes, why you pick up on emotions that no one else seems to notice, this is why. You are not like everyone else. You were given this gift for a reason. The question is, will you embrace it? Sign number 6. The call to overcome. How struggles shape the chosen. Life has never been easy for you. From an early age, you faced battles that others never seemed to struggle with. The road has been full of obstacles, setbacks, betrayals, and moments where you questioned if you could keep going. But somehow, you are still here. Somehow, you keep rising. Somehow, despite everything, you cannot shake the feeling that you are meant for something greater. This is not coincidence. This is the refining process of the chosen. People who are called for a divine purpose are not given an easy path. The struggles you have faced were never meant to destroy you. They were meant to shape you. Every hardship was allowed for a reason. Every challenge was designed to prepare you. The chosen are not given their purpose without first being tested. Because what God places inside someone is too powerful to be carried by someone unprepared. Look back at your life. The patterns are clear. You have been through things that should have broken you, yet they didn't. You have faced rejection, yet you still move forward. You have been attacked, yet you still believe. You have been knocked down, yet you refuse to stay down. This is what makes you different. Many people crumble under pressure, but something inside you refuses to give up. That is the mark of the chosen. That is the Spirit of God strengthening you even when you don't realize it. Your struggles have not been random. They have been refining you, teaching you endurance, patience, and resilience. They have been shaping your faith, removing what is weak, strengthening what is needed. Without the struggle, you would not be ready for what is ahead. Without the fire, you would not be strong enough to carry what has been placed inside you. Every battle has been preparing you. The enemy does not waste time attacking those who are not a threat. If your life has been filled with hardships, it is because you are dangerous to the kingdom of darkness. You are carrying something powerful, and the enemy sees it. He saw it before you did. That is why the attack started early. That is why you faced opposition even before you fully understood who you were. Because the enemy wanted to break you before you could step into your purpose. But he failed. You are still here, and that means God is not done with you. You have seen people take the easy road. You have seen others succeed with little effort while you had to fight for everything. But your path is different because your calling is different. What God is preparing you for requires strength, wisdom, and faith that cannot be shaken. And the only way to develop those things is through the process of overcoming. Many people run from the process. They give up when things get hard, thinking that struggle means they are on the wrong path. But the chosen know better. They understand that battles are proof that they are being refined, that resistance means they are moving in the right direction. They do not give up when things get difficult. They press forward, knowing that every challenge is making them stronger. If you have ever wondered why your life has been so difficult, why you have faced battles that others haven't, why nothing seems to come easy for you, this is why. You are not being punished. You are being prepared. Every scar tells a story of endurance. Every battle has been training you for the moment when you will step fully into your calling. The question is, will you trust the process? Will you allow your struggles to strengthen you instead of break you? Will you recognize that every hardship was meant to refine you, to prepare you for something bigger than you can see right now? Because the chosen are not just called, they are tested. And those who endure, those who refuse to give up, those who keep their faith even when everything around them is falling apart, those are the ones who walk into their destiny. Sign number 7. A restless spirit. Why comfort never feels satisfying. No matter how much you try to settle, something inside you refuses to be still. You have seen people around you who are content with an ordinary life, satisfied with routine, happy to follow the expectations of the world. But you are different. You have tried to live like everyone else, tried to embrace comfort, tried to convince yourself that you can be satisfied with a normal life. But it never lasts. There is always something inside you that stirs, something that whispers, this is not it. This restlessness is not a curse, it is confirmation. Chosen ones are never meant to settle. They cannot find peace in what the world calls success. No amount of money, stability, or achievement can fill the space inside them that was created for something greater. No matter how much they try to follow the same path as everyone else, their spirit resists it. You may have felt this pull since you were young, a desire for something more, something meaningful, something beyond what this world offers. You may have tried to ignore it, tried to distract yourself, but it always comes back. This is because you were not created for mediocrity. You were designed for something higher, something that cannot be contained within the expectations of society. Many people mistake this restlessness for dissatisfaction, for being ungrateful, for never being content. But this is not about material things or personal achievements. It is about purpose. It is about destiny. The reason you cannot settle is because your spirit knows that there is more waiting for you. Your soul is craving the life God designed you to live, and it will not allow you to be comfortable in anything less. Moses felt this when he was in Pharaoh's palace. He had everything the world could offer: wealth, power, privilege, but something inside him would not let him rest. He knew he was meant for something different. David felt this when he was a shepherd, knowing in his heart that he was called to more than tending sheep. Even Jesus, before his ministry began, felt the pull of his purpose, withdrawing to the wilderness to prepare for what was ahead. If you have ever felt frustrated with the ordinary, if you have ever looked at your life and thought, there has to be more than this, you are experiencing what every chosen one has felt. This is not just ambition. It's not just a desire for something new. It is the Spirit of God inside you, refusing to let you settle for less than what you were created for. But here is the challenge. Will you respond to that restlessness, or will you try to silence it? Many people spend their lives ignoring the call, choosing comfort over purpose, trying to quiet the voice that tells them they are meant for more. But those who are truly chosen will never be able to escape it. They may delay, they may resist, but eventually they will have to face the truth. God has placed something inside them that cannot be ignored. If you have ever felt like you do not belong in the life you are living, if you have ever felt a pull toward something greater, if you have ever been unable to shake the feeling that there is more waiting for you, this is why. You were never meant to live a life of comfort. You were meant to step into something extraordinary. And the longer you try to resist it, the stronger the restlessness will grow. The question is, will you listen? Will you trust that the feeling inside you is not an accident, but a calling? Will you step into the unknown, knowing that what God has for you is far greater than anything you could build for yourself? Because chosen ones do not find peace in settling. They only find peace when they step fully into their purpose, and that is exactly what you were created for. Sign number 8, intense spiritual attacks. Why the enemy tries to stop you. Before you start from an early age, you have faced battles that seem unexplainable. You have been attacked in ways that others have not. You have endured struggles that appeared to come out of nowhere. At times, you have felt surrounded by opposition, as if an invisible force was working against you, trying to break you before you even had the chance to step into your purpose. This is not a coincidence. This is spiritual warfare, and it is one of the clearest signs that you are chosen. The enemy does not waste his time on those who are not a threat. He does not attack people who are walking aimlessly with no purpose. His greatest fear is someone who steps into their divine calling, someone who wakes up to who they truly are, someone who realizes that they carry the power of God inside them. That is why the attack started early. That is why you have faced so much resistance. That is why, even when you try to live a normal life, something always seems to rise against you. Look back at your life. The patterns are clear. You have gone through things that should have broken you. You have faced betrayals, losses, rejections, and setbacks that felt personal, as if they were designed specifically to stop you from moving forward. And that is exactly what they were. The enemy saw your potential before you did. He saw the calling on your life before you ever understood it. And his goal has always been to make sure you never step into it. For some, the attacks come through discouragement, a constant voice telling them they are not good enough, that they are not worthy, that they will never succeed. For others, the attacks come through relationships, people who betray, reject, or abandon them, creating wounds meant to keep them from trusting anyone, even God. Some experience physical struggles, financial setbacks, or emotional battles that seem relentless, as if the moment they get back up, something else knocks them down. But here is what the enemy does not realize. Every attack, every hardship, every moment of suffering has only made you stronger. What was meant to destroy you has shaped you. What was meant to silence you has given you a deeper voice. What was meant to turn you away from God has only made you seek Him more. The enemy wanted to break you, but instead, he built you. And that is the greatest threat of all. The chosen are always tested before they are revealed. Every person who carried a great calling in the Bible endured intense opposition. Joseph was thrown into a pit and sold into slavery before he became a ruler. Moses faced rejection and exile before he became a leader. David was hunted before he became king. Even Jesus was attacked from the moment of his birth, with an order sent out to kill every male child in an attempt to stop him before he could fulfill his purpose. The battle has never been about where you are. It has always been about where you are going. The resistance you have faced is proof that you are carrying something valuable. If you were not a threat, the enemy would leave you alone. But because you are chosen, because your life has meaning, because you are meant to bring light into darkness, you have been under attack. This is why quitting is not an option. This is why giving up cannot be part of your story. If the enemy has fought you this hard, it means there is something inside you that he is terrified of. And the moment you step into who you were meant to be, the attacks will no longer hold power over you. The question is, will you let the opposition stop you, or will you use it as confirmation that you are exactly where you need to be? Because the ones who push through, the ones who refuse to let the battle define them, the ones who stand firm even when everything is against them, those are the ones who step into their calling. And you were never meant to stay on the sidelines. You were meant to walk in power. You were meant to rise. Sign number 9. Divine encounters, the signs, dreams, and messages that confirm your calling. There have been moments in your life that you cannot explain, situations that felt too precise to be a coincidence, dreams that left a mark on your soul, messages that seemed to speak directly to you at exactly the right time. These are not random. They are divine encounters, signs that God has been guiding you, speaking to you, confirming your purpose even when you weren't fully aware of it. Chosen ones rarely move through life without divine interruptions, whether through a powerful dream, a sudden revelation, an unshakable gut feeling, or an encounter with someone who speaks exactly what they needed to hear. These moments serve as confirmations. They remind you that you are not walking alone, that your steps are being directed, that you are on a path designed by God Himself. You may have experienced times when a specific verse, song, or message hit your spirit so deeply that you knew it was meant for you. Or perhaps you have met people who seem to enter your life at just the right moment, offering words of wisdom that answered a question you hadn't spoken aloud. Maybe you have had dreams that felt more real than reality, filled with symbols and meaning that you could not shake. These are not accidents. They are glimpses of the unseen world working on your behalf. God often speaks to those He has called long before they fully understand their purpose. Think of Joseph, who had dreams of his future long before he stepped into his destiny. Think of Moses, who encountered God in the burning bush after years of living in obscurity. Think of Samuel, who heard God's voice calling him as a child before he even knew how to recognize it. These encounters were not just for them. They were for all who are chosen. But here is the challenge. Many people ignore these signs. They dismiss them as imagination, coincidences, or random events. They let the moment pass without realizing that God was speaking. The chosen ones who step fully into their calling are those who learn to recognize these encounters for what they are. They do not just experience them, they respond to them. If you have ever had moments where something in your spirit told you that what you were experiencing was not ordinary, if you have ever felt the undeniable presence of something greater guiding you, if you have ever received a message so precise that you knew it was meant for you, this is your confirmation. God has been speaking to you. You have been given glimpses of your purpose. You have been encountering divine messages meant to guide you toward your calling. But divine encounters are not just given to remind you. You are meant to do something with them. God does not show you something for no reason. Every sign, every message, every revelation is a step leading you toward who you were meant to become. The question is, will you listen? Will you recognize that what you have experienced is not just chance, but a calling? Will you start paying attention to the ways God is guiding you, preparing you, confirming what He has placed inside you? Because the ones who are truly chosen do not just see the signs, they follow them. Sign number 10, the burden for others. Why the chosen feel a deep responsibility. You feel things deeply. When others hurt, you hurt. When you see injustice, something inside you stirs. When you witness suffering, you cannot just look away like the rest of the world. There is an unshakable weight on your spirit, a responsibility you feel toward people, toward truth, toward something bigger than yourself. This is not a coincidence. It is a sign that you are chosen. God does not call people just for their own benefit. He calls them to impact others. Those who are chosen are not given a mission to serve themselves. They are given a mission to serve the world. They are given a heart that carries burdens most people ignore. They feel drawn to protect, to uplift, to speak, to act when others remain silent. They carry a responsibility that is not man-made, but divinely placed inside them. You may have noticed that you cannot ignore pain when you see it. You may have found yourself in moments where you felt compelled to help, even when it was inconvenient. You may have felt an urge to intercede for people, to pray for those you barely know, to stand in the gap for those who have no one else to fight for them. These are not random emotions. This is the Spirit moving in you, shaping you, calling you to something greater. Look at the lives of the chosen throughout history. Moses could not ignore the suffering of his people, even when it would have been easier to stay in Pharaoh's palace. David could not stand by when he saw Goliath mocking God, even when no one else dared to fight. Esther felt the burden of saving her people, even though it meant risking her own life. Jesus himself carried the weight of the world's sin, moved by love so deep that he laid down his life for those who did not deserve it. The chosen ones do not live just for themselves, they live for something greater. This burden can feel overwhelming at times. You may have moments where you ask, why do I care so much? Why do I feel so deeply? Why can't I just focus on myself like others do? But the reason you cannot ignore what others walk past is because you were created to make a difference. The reason your heart aches for the lost, the broken, the forgotten is because your purpose is connected to them. Many try to run from this burden. They try to silence it, numb it, pretend they don't feel it. But those who are truly chosen will never be able to escape it. No matter how much they try to ignore the call, it always finds them. Because when God places a mission inside someone, He does not let them forget it. If you have ever felt a deep sense of responsibility for people who are hurting, if you have ever carried burdens that others do not seem to notice, if you have ever felt the weight of the world on your spirit, you are not alone. This is the mark of the chosen. The question is, will you embrace it? Will you allow your heart to be used as an instrument for something greater? Will you accept that your purpose is not just about you, but about the impact you are meant to make? Because those who are truly chosen do not just feel the burden, they do something about it. Sign number 11, the resistance to conform. Why you struggle to fit into systems of the world. You have never been able to fully conform. While others seem content to follow the rules, to fit into the systems of the world, something inside you resists. You see things differently. You question what others accept without hesitation. You feel uneasy in environments that demand blind obedience, in cultures that pressure you to be like everyone else. No matter how much you try to go along with it, there is always something in your spirit that says, "This is not for me. This is not rebellion. This is calling." Chosen ones were never meant to blend into the world. They were never meant to fit inside systems that are built on deception, greed, and control. They were meant to challenge, to rise above, to walk a path that does not conform to the expectations of society. That is why they often feel like outcasts. That is why they struggle to find peace in places where others seem comfortable. That is why they can never fully settle into the structures the world has created. Look at the ones God has called throughout history. Noah did not conform. He built an ark when the world called him crazy. Abraham did not conform. He left everything he knew to follow a voice no one else could hear. Moses did not conform. He stood before Pharaoh and demanded freedom for his people. Daniel did not conform. He refused to bow to a king, even when it meant being thrown into a den of lions. Jesus himself did not conform. He overturned tables in the temple, rebuked religious leaders, and declared a kingdom that was not of this world. The chosen ones do not follow trends. They set them. They do not adjust their values to fit the world. They stand firm even when it costs them everything. They do not seek approval from man. They seek to fulfill the purpose that God has placed inside them. This resistance to conform is not easy. It comes with rejection, with misunderstanding, with the feeling that you are walking alone while everyone else moves in the same direction. It can make you question yourself, make you wonder if you should just give in, just follow the crowd, just silence the voice inside that tells you to stand apart. But every time you try, the unrest returns. Every time you attempt to fit in, something inside you refuses. Because you were not created to follow, you were created to lead. This is why certain environments make you uncomfortable. This is why you cannot tolerate manipulation, deception, or corruption. This is why you challenge things that others accept without question. You are not being difficult. You are being set apart. Your spirit is wired differently because you are called to walk a different road. The world does not welcome those who refuse to conform. It rewards those who comply, those who do not question, those who accept without resistance. But the chosen ones have never been called to seek the world's approval. They have been called to seek truth, to bring light where there is darkness, to live by a higher standard. If you have ever felt like you do not belong in the structures of the world, if you have struggled to accept what others embrace so easily, if you have found yourself standing against what seems popular or expected, this is why. You are not meant to conform, you are meant to rise. The question is, will you embrace the calling to stand apart even when it costs you? Will you trust that your difference is not a flaw, but a divine design? Will you choose purpose over comfort, even when the world tries to push you into its mold? Because those who are truly chosen do not follow the crowd, they lead it into something greater. Sign number 12, the divine preparation. How God trains his chosen in secret. Before stepping into greatness, the chosen always go through a season of preparation. This is not a public process. It happens in the hidden places, in the silence, in the moments when it feels like nothing is happening. But this is where the real work begins. The greatest warriors are not made in the spotlight, they are shaped in the wilderness. You may have wondered why your life has felt like a waiting game, why doors have remained closed even when you were ready to walk through them, why you have been kept in the background when you know you were made for more. This is not delay. It is divine training. God does not rush his chosen. He prepares them in secret, away from the noise, away from distractions, away from the opinions of the world. Look at how God prepared those he called. Joseph was given dreams of greatness, but before he could step into them, he was thrown into a pit, sold into slavery, and locked in prison. His preparation was not on a throne, it was in chains. David was anointed as king when he was young, but instead of being crowned immediately, he spent years in the wilderness, fighting battles in obscurity, running for his life, learning how to lead before he ever sat on a throne. Even Jesus, though he was the Son of God, did not begin his ministry right away. He spent time in solitude, fasting, praying, preparing for the mission ahead. The pattern is always the same. Those who are chosen go through a season of silence before their purpose is revealed. They are tested, refined, strengthened. They learn patience, humility, and endurance. They are stripped of everything that is not necessary, so that when the time comes, they are ready to carry the weight of their calling. This process is not easy. It can feel like being forgotten, like being overlooked, like watching others move forward while you remain stuck. But what looks like stagnation is actually transformation. While the world sees nothing happening, God is shaping you into the person you need to be. He's breaking the parts of you that would not survive the journey ahead. He's developing the strength, wisdom, and faith that will sustain you when your time comes. Many people do not survive the preparation season because they grow impatient. They mistake God's timing for delay. They try to force doors open before they are ready. But the chosen ones who step fully into their purpose are those who embrace the process, who trust that the waiting is not wasted, who understand that their time in the wilderness is just as important as their time in the spotlight. If you have ever felt hidden, if you have ever wondered why your breakthrough has not come yet, if you have ever struggled with feeling like you are being held back, this is why. You are not being delayed, you are being prepared. Your purpose is too big to step into untrained. Your calling is too important to be rushed. The question is, will you trust the process? Will you remain faithful even when it feels like nothing is happening? Will you allow God to shape you in the silence so that when the moment comes, you are fully ready? Because those who are truly chosen do not skip the preparation. They embrace it knowing that when their time comes, nothing in the world will be able to stop them. Sign number 13. The unshakable faith. Why nothing can take away what you know. Deep inside, no matter how much you have struggled, no matter how many times you have questioned yourself, no matter how difficult the journey has been, there is one thing that has never left you: the knowing. It is deep inside you, stronger than any doubt, louder than any fear. Even in your lowest moments, when you wanted to give up, when everything in you was tired, when you tried to walk away from your calling, something always pulled you back. That is the mark of the chosen. Unshakable faith is not about never having doubts. It is about never being able to stay in doubt. It is not about never feeling weak. It is about knowing that even in your weakness, you are still called. The world has tried to convince you that you are ordinary, that you should settle, that your dreams and visions are just imagination. But you know better. Even when you try to ignore it, even when you try to silence it, the truth remains. You were made for something more. Look at the ones who walked before you. Moses doubted himself, telling God he was not a good speaker, but the call on his life did not change. Jeremiah thought he was too young to be a prophet, but God reminded him that he had set him apart before he was even born. Peter denied Jesus 3 times, but the purpose placed inside him was never taken away. Even when the chosen fall, even when they run, even when they resist, God's call remains. This is why nothing in this world has been able to separate you from your purpose. People may have doubted you. You may have doubted yourself. You may have gone through seasons where it felt like you lost your way. But deep inside, something always reminded you that this is not the end. You were not created to live a life of compromise. You were not made to fade into the background. You were called to stand, to lead, to bring light into the darkness. That is why your faith remains, even after everything you have been through. That is why, despite the battles, despite the disappointments, despite the attacks, you are still here. The fire inside you has not gone out, because it was never man-made. It was placed there by God Himself. And nothing in this world, no force of darkness, no amount of rejection, no level of hardship can take it away. The question is, will you fully embrace it? Will you stop running from who you are? Will you stand in the confidence of your calling, knowing that you were chosen for a reason? Because unshakable faith is not about having all the answers. It is about knowing deep in your soul that no matter what happens, you are exactly who God says you are. You were never meant to live like everyone else. You were never meant to follow the crowd, to be silent, to shrink yourself to fit into a world that was never meant to contain you. You are here for something greater, and now it is time to step into it. This is your confirmation. This is your moment. You are chosen. You always have been. The only thing left to do is walk boldly in the truth that nothing, no person, no struggle, no fear can take that away from you. Now the choice is yours. Will you rise? Now you know the truth. You were never ordinary. Every struggle, every moment of doubt, every unexplainable feeling pulling you towards something greater, it was all leading you here. You have seen the signs, felt the calling, and recognized that your path has never been like everyone else's. And now you have a choice. Many are called, but few respond. Being chosen is not about status. It is about surrender. It is about stepping into the identity that has been placed inside you, refusing to shrink back into the life you were never meant to live. You can continue to ignore the signs, pretend that what you felt is just coincidence, and walk the path of the ordinary. Or you can rise. You can embrace the reason you were set apart, the reason you never fit in, the reason the fire inside you has never gone out. The world does not need more people who follow the crowd. It needs people who stand, who lead, who walk in the power of who they were created to be. That is why you have been tested. That is why you have been refined. That is why you are here. Now the question is, what will you do with what you know? Because the chosen are not just the ones who see the signs. They are the ones who decide to step into them.